Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. Mic check, mic check. The stock market sizzled today. That's right, it's booming. But for who? Once again, we've been telling you for 6+ years, you need to be in the stock market. It keeps doing record highs. You are missing out. The wealth inequality just got a whole lot bigger. Why? Because the top 10% own 93% of the stock market. Let me say it again. The top 10% of the wealthiest people own 93% of the stock market. I know. So when it rose 20% in SpaceX and all-time record highs on the stock market itself, imagine trillions of dollars just going up 3%. Are you getting the picture yet, ladies and gentlemen? You're getting left behind by a staggering amount. And welcome. Stop struggling now, gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. The voice may be sounding a little weird. We're having technical difficulties once again. The audio is not where it's supposed to be, so therefore, it's finally reacting. So let's see what happens. Once again, nope, not showing. Why is this happening, ladies and gentlemen? Anyhow, you guys can hear me, but I know I sound a little weird right now. But don't worry, I'm about to fix it. At least I think I am. Yes, we're finally back to the normal situation. So the intro, hopefully you guys heard the intro. Because once again, please share the videos. You never know who's out here listening or looking for this information. If you need to understand one thing, you need to get assets. Buy assets that rise in price while you're sleeping, while you're at work, while you're doing nothing, minding your own business. That's what you have to do. There's no way around it. This is the age of asset inflation. If you don't get part of this asset inflation, you are going to be miserable in a couple of years. All the oxygen is being sucked out of the air. Just think about all the oxygen. You're in a room, you're a room full of oxygen, but you know every time you breathe in, you're taking up oxygen, breathing out carbon dioxide. Imagine if the room had just you in it. And then all of a sudden, 93% of the air is gone. You might be a little concerned. You might be like, hold on. This is not going to be correct in how long, we don't know. But all I know is because of me blowing out carbon dioxide, there's going to be less and less oxygen and more carbon dioxide along the way with only a little bit of oxygen left. Sooner or later, we're going to have a catastrophic situation. If you don't understand this analogy, then you will understand this. If you have $1 trillion at your disposal, it goes up 10%. That's not 100 million, ladies and gentlemen. That's 100 billion at 10%. Meanwhile, the average person that has $80,000 as a 401k or $80,000 as their own money that they're investing, all you get is 800. All you get is 8,500. So you tell me 100 billion for the top 10% or the 7 percenters who get on average 8,500. Do you understand how this goes down eventually? It's happening in real time. They get to buy everything. The media. They get to buy the radios. They get to buy everything you ingest. And by the way, they're tracking everything we do and talk about as we speak. When we say shadow ban, they say, oh, we know who this guy is because some of you are watching on your cell phones. Some of you are watching on a laptop. You're connected to the internet. You're giving them a pathway. Every time you hit on your biometrics, every time you hit on your video and say, oh, look at me. Guess what? You're feeding the machine automatically because when you said yes to allowing them to upload videos, upload pictures, you're allowing them in your system, and it's even worse. It's diabolical. It goes into the person's system that you are also checking out. Like right now, you guys are connected on your phones, you're connected on your computers. That's right. It's going through the stream. They're finding out everything. They're smart. They know what you're going to eat and drink and speak for breakfast. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for you to stop acting dumb and understand the assignment. You need to get assets. All of them. If you can get intellectual properties, you need to get them. If you can get a trademark, you need to get them. If you can get a patent, you need to get them. If you can make something and you think nobody else makes it, you need a patent. You need to get on board with the program. All right, enough talk. We have somebody in the house tonight. MDA0214, welcome to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream. Thank you so much for being in the house. He was saying was going to research on Australian economics earlier. I'm surprised you're not an infinite banker. The concept comes from Australia. It's to be isolated from government manipulation. It's because what ultimately happens with the infinite banking line, you should run the number. Well, hold on. We have AI now. You don't have to run the numbers. Your infinite banking usually involves insurance. What you don't or maybe you do understand. You do understand that when you start insurance, you are not vetted. You have to give the insurance company some money. You don't also get cash value when you actually put money in. I can't put $100,000 into the cash value and have cash value of 100 grand. It doesn't work like that. But you can get 4% a month, 4% a year on your money. You can borrow it once you reach a certain level, but you generally, that's not the banking I'm talking about, because you still are locked in, because you still have to pay insurance. So you can't just borrow straight off the top. In fact, let's use index as we're talking about. There's always something you can do, yes, but no, I'm not no big fan of infinite banking. Because the bottom line of the story is you can borrow against your stock holdings. What's the difference? Right? So why am I going to sit there and siphon off some of my money based on insurance? That's crazy. That's ultimately how it goes. I talked about infinite banking before. I'm a big fan of trying to do it if you have a way to get your cash value faster, so therefore you can start manipulating the system and you be your own bank. That would be awesome. But Australia ain't the United States, first of all. They have different rules. They're not the same. All right, let's go. Here we go. Completely wrong. It do work like that. He's saying it don't. Type in infinite banking and AI and type in 9010. Actually, we're going to. Because this is the type of show we have, ladies and gentlemen. This is try to educate people. We go back and forth. He may be on to something. We got to look. Okay, let's go see what this infinite banking. Okay, 9010. Let's go hear it. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, 9010. I don't know what this split is he's referring to. Let's go. In the infinite banking concept, 90-10 split, often referred to interchangeably as a 10-90, means 10% of your premium goes towards the base whole life insurance. And 90% is directed to paid up additions, PUAs. 10% base premium. This is your required contractual commitment. It purchases the core whole life death benefit. I don't understand, but okay, let's say 10%, let's roll. 90% paid up additions. This rider acts as a turbocharger. This money builds immediate cash value and buys small chunks of fully paid up insurance. Okay, hold on. What do they mean by buys paid up insurance? This is where, okay, never mind. We'll keep going. Term insurance rider to prevent the policy from violating tax laws and becoming modified endowment contracts. Agents blend a temporary term insurance rider into the policy. This is true. All right, here we go. The pros. You gain access to roughly 70% to 85% of your first year premium. Notice first year premium within 30 days compared to a traditional policy, which typically has 0% cash value in year one. This is very true. This is very true. They're right about that. They're not telling the lie here. But this thing about first year premium, we're going to delve into that. But they are correct. That is true. It usually takes 3-4 years if you're lucky, 5 years max. That's how long it takes to build up the cash value. But that's not all. But anyhow, that's not this. Number 2. Hold on a second. You know what? Why am I going to talk about this? I'll just put it on the screen so you guys can see it yourself. All right, here we go. I'll let you guys see it as I'm talking about it. All right? Because, we do that too. All right, so here we go. Oh, we're not there. Hold on a second. Let's go. Okay. All right, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about infinite banking tonight. This has to do with investing. So if you're out on the stock market not hanging, hey, you have another opportunity for some learning experience right now. Okay, here we are. Fast break even point. Your total cash value will equal or exceed your total paid premiums much faster. Yeah, typically by years 3 to 5. That is true. This is normally what happens with infinite banking. This is why I'm not a fan. But 90-10, maybe this newfangled thing, maybe it's better. Lower compulsory funding. Your minimum mandatory payment is just 10% base. I don't understand. Okay, this doesn't make sense, but okay. You can choose whether or not to fund the remaining 90% in later years based on your income. This is different. I've never heard of this, but okay. Let's go with the cons. Lower long-term growth. This right, okay, never mind. Whole life dividends are paid most efficiently on the base policy. By minimizing the base to 10%, you lower the compounding capacity of the policy years later. 10 plus years. Do you hear the compounding of the policy is what you want, right? So now either wait till 3 to 5 or wait till 10. Okay. Oh, MEC risk. Yeah, that's that situation about the modified endowment contract part. That's a rider. If the term rider drops off or the cash value grows too quickly relative to the death benefit, the policy can trigger an MEC status. An MEC strips the policy of its tax-free loan benefits. So now you're capped at certain numbers if I'm reading this right. It says if the term rider drops off or the cash value grows too quickly relative to the death benefit, the policy can trigger an MEC status, which now means your tax-free loans is done. Term rider drag. The term rider required to support this design isn't free. Oh. The cost of the term insurance increases every year as you age. That's correct. As normal. Eating into your returns. Exactly. Reduce long-term funding capacity. Because the chassis is so lean, 10%, you may lose the ability to inject large sums of cash into the policy down the road right when the policy becomes most efficient. That doesn't seem like a winning formula to me, but hey, maybe some people think it is. Again, why am I messing with this? I'm trying to figure out. Again, it doesn't make sense to me. Unless you plan on parking money and have insurance, and I don't know, and earn 4%, that's not on my beer. I don't get it. That's one of the things that I don't like about this infinite banking. Lots of this little crap. It's not as simple as just doing something. Comparison of the policy designs. Here's the 90-10 aggressive. That's aggressive. Year one liquidity, 80%. Yeah, but you can't use it. Not all of it. You can use some of it. Okay, good. Break even year is 3 to 5. Even on this, I thought they meant regularly. Regularly, I thought was 4, 5, 3, 5, 4. Well, actually, it wasn't 3. 4, 5, 6. But now they're saying it's 3 to 5 on the 90-10 is break even. Interesting. ROI lower. So your ROI is lower. So that's not good. And mandatory premium 10%. Okay, this is what most people probably have right here. So break even year is 6 to 8. That's what I'm familiar with. And long-term ROI is higher. Yes, it is. Moderately, yes, that's correct. 30 to 40% of premium. This is the one in the middle that I'm most familiar with. I've never heard of a 90. This one. This is different, but I don't see how you, according to this, your ROI is lower. So that doesn't even make sense. You might as well have an index fund earning 9% a year if you're doing this. Traditional whole life, well, that's different altogether. Break evens 10 to 15 years. Highest relative, yeah, to premium paid. Highest, yeah, that's out. So I'm familiar with this 60-40 type scenario. I've never heard of 90-10, but I'm not seeing a huge advantage because the MEC risk level is high, low to moderate for the normal one, and none at all if you just do the nonsensical one. And there's a guy talking about it, the and asset or something. I'm not finding how this is going to help anybody. I mean, unless we start putting numbers in. Oh, wait a minute. Aren't we on? Oh, we're in AI mode. Good. Good. I am 50 years old. I want to do 90-10 for infinite banking. How much do I need to put in by 70 years old? Let's go see. What does it say? Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Real time. This is what you do. You go find out what you can do and what you can't do. This is free AI mode, by the way, so you're going to have to take some of this with a grain of salt. But why don't we just find out what it has to say? This is going to be very, very interesting, quite frankly. Because, oh my, it looks like I'm locked out, locked up, something. This is not good. They don't like me playing around in their playground, do they? All right, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you can see me because I don't see anything here. This is highly unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Okay, are we back? Thank you. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. What did we do? Now I got to go find the thing. Here we go. No, that's not it. Come on, man. This isn't good. That's not good. Come on. I lost it, ladies and gentlemen. This is what happens when you have lots of places open. Here we go. There is no single fixed dollar amount required to start. This is good. You can structure 90-10 policy for almost any budget, ranging from $10,000 over $500,000 per year. Because the infinite banking concept focuses on redirecting existing cash flow, you decide the total amount you want to save. Okay, but all right, give me the stuff, man. Quit holding back. Because you are starting at age 50 and funding it until age 70, another lifetime. Strict IRS tax laws dictate how the money must be structured to prevent MEC. Oh my. All right, here we go, man. Here's your strategy. If you're 50 years old, how your funding strategy breaks down. Commit to the base, 10%. This is your contractual minimum. If your total target budget is $50,000 per year, your mandatory base premium is only $5,000 per year. This provides extreme flexibility. You're damn right. If I can put 45,000 in, but this now I'm beginning to be like, can I? If you experience a bad financial year between ages 50 and 70, you're only forced to pay 5,000 base to keep the policy active. That is cool. But the remaining 45 goes directly into PUAs to build immediate cash. Wow, now I see why the MEC thing is a thing. Because that even beats IRA. That beats other investments that you can put money into. At age 50, this design allows you to access roughly 37.5 to 40,000 within the first 30 days of your year one to begin looping back out for banking or investing. That is pretty cool, I will say. The 7-pay test reality. The IRS uses 7-pay to determine MEC limits. Oh my. Because a 90-10 policy puts massive cash into a tiny policy base, an agent must blend a large amount of term insurance to widen the tax bracket. Most blended term riders expire or become unsustainable, expensive around 65 to 70. Since you want to fund until 70, your agent will likely need to structure as a 70-30 or 60-40 blend in the later years. This is crazy. The efficiency crossover. While 90-10 split gives you massive liquidity in years 1 through 5, a slightly more conservative blend like 70-30 often yields a much higher total cash value by the time you reach 80. Okay, there you go, man. It's saying 70-30 has a higher cash value in the 20 years above your age. Because of the builds, a stronger base for compounding. Recommended steps. What is your ideal target? What is your health qualification? That's another major thing. Completely stop premiums at age 70, or do you want an option to past it? Okay, we're not going to look into that any further. That's very interesting. 90-10, that's pretty cool. Got to give it credit for that. That's pretty sweet. I don't really like the 90-10 after reading what they said. Completely wrong. It does work. Here we go. Also, type in AI. Why is whole life insurance used for infinite banking for duplicate Australian economics? Way too much to type out. I'm not going to mess with that. We have different laws. I mean, no sense in going down the pipeline. We have similar laws, and then we have different laws. So if you want to go to Australia, actually you can't. Just saying. Oh, hold on a second. Hold on. Because I don't know. Let me do something here. Can I copy this? Oh, yeah, I can. Okay, I'm about to put it in myself. Let's go see. Yeah, this doesn't appear to be in the long, over a 20-year span. Well, if you're older, because your premium rises so much, it looks like they're saying use a 70-30 blend. And that way you don't even, it lowers your MEC thing. That is crazy. Okay. Actually refers to Austrian economics, not Australian. Oh, that's different. Austria, I don't know nothing about them. Okay, commercial banks practice fractional reserve lending. That's true. Whole life insurance in Austria, a mutual life insurance company cannot print money. This is unlike America. Every single dollar available for a policy loan must be backed 1-to. Oh. Yeah, this is going to be different. When you borrow against a whole life policy, you do not increase the money supply in the broader economy. Ooh, they understand inflation. They understand they don't want their citizens to be effed up years later down the line when they get older by doing fractional BS like the United States, by the way. Okay, I get it. I love it. See, this is what America probably does not do. Because the money pool supply isn't expanding via your loan, your personal banking loop does not contribute to the inflationary erosion of your own purchasing power. Ooh, I love it. But hey, you got to have it in Australia. Austria, sorry. Okay. Austrian economic heavily favors the completely decentralized private control of capital. Yeah, I like this. Okay, hold on. I'm going to put this in. I'm going to do this. Simple. But America doesn't do this. You can't do this. Let's see what it says. But America doesn't do this. You know the answer. You are exactly right. The American commercial banking system operates in the completely opposite way. Oh, yeah, you think? We know. People here in the SSN Nation, you guys know it already operates completely upside down compared to this. They're saying it's built on the Keynesian economics, fractional reserve banking. America prints money. Your policy cannot. Bingo, ladies and gentlemen. We can't do this in America. Not on our policy watch. Now, if you're going to go do something in Australia, I keep saying Australia. Austria, have at it. Have at it. Okay, MDA0214, you can't do it in America. I'm sorry. You're talking about Austria, they say. They say it is not the Australian one. They're saying it's Austrian one, and they're saying it's a 1-to-1. No. Yes. 90-10. Okay, 90-10. It says you have more money in there 3 to 5 years than you would the other ones. This is true because you're only doing 10% allows you, but now you're messing with fire with the MEC situation. But if you don't care about that, from the time a person's 50 to 70, the 70-30 blend you would almost be eliminate the MEC problem, and you earn more money in the long run from the ages of 50 to 70 over that 20 years, which also tends to think that would be any time because your insurance policy rises as your age goes. So again, I'm not fine. If you want to do the 90-10, I don't even know if you can because we can't do that in America. They're not like, hold on a second. No, hold on. Let me check something real quick. Oh, it already said we can't do that in America. I'm sorry. It already said that. I asked that. Yeah, I said, but America doesn't do this. And it says you're exactly right. Because they print money. So therefore, I'll even write what they say. A mutual life insurance policy company is legally required to hold dollar for dollar cash reserves to back its contract. It cannot artificially create currency, meaning your policy acts like a private gold standard vault isolated from federal money printing. So what? It's going to cost you more because you don't get to keep up with inflation. So you're losing money. That's the point. That's why they say America can't and doesn't, because they print money. So we have, anyhow, the Federal Reserve artificially manipulates interest rates, which dictates how much it costs you to buy a car, finance a home, or run a business. When you borrow against your whole life policy, you set the repayment schedule. The insurance company charges a contractual loan interest rate, but because you're a part owner of the mutual company, those profits ultimately flow back into the general pool that pays your policy dividends. America incentivizes spending. This is why the 90-10 doesn't work in America. And in fact, I don't even know who would do this. Because again, you can't. It doesn't, I don't think you can. So, good talk. But can't do, I don't know if we can really do, hold on a second. Can we do 90-10 in America insurance policy? So you're talking about Austria. Let's see if we can even do a 90-10. You can whole life insurance policy. In fact, the entire infinite banking was invented in the United States and uses U.S. mutual life insurance companies. However, because you are starting at age 50 and want to fund it for 20 years until age 70, doing a pure 90-10 split in America requires navigating very strict rules. Okay. All right. Well, we don't like very strict rules. Hold on. What happens? What about 30 to 50 years old? Does that matter? Let's see what they say there. Yes, the difference between starting at 30, obviously 30 is a whole different ball game, versus age 50 matters massively for a 90-10, exactly, because your insurance is going to be so low. And oh, by the way, why should I tell you? I don't have this on screen, but it's okay. At age 30, term insurance is extremely cheap, clearly. At age 50, the exact same amount of term insurance costs significantly more, creating a much higher cash drag inside your policy. Yeah, that's where, see, this is the thing about infinite banking that they mention. As you get older, the policy costs more. The trade-off is you hopefully have a cash value and you hopefully have used some of this cash value, but again, it's your own money. Just a reminder, it's your own money. I can also keep my own money, earn 4 or 5 or 6 or 10%, and I can go to the bank and say, give me a loan against my money. But then some people would say, Eric, you only earn like 2%, 3% of your own money at the bank. We still have the same problem, SSN Nation, OCs, original citizens, because if you have not known anything over the last 5 years, inflation last month was 4.7 or 4.9, whatever it was, allegedly. It's higher than that. We'll just round up to 5 just to be nice. But 10% inflation means I borrowed money, but it costs me more to buy stuff now. So even though I'm getting this, but now I got to pay back at the inflationary price. This does not work for me. It might work for you, but I'm not touching. I like inflationary, like the stock market is inflationary. That's based on today's price. Actually, it's based on future price. But you ain't getting a stock price from 10 years ago or 5 years ago or even yesterday or Friday. This is Money Making Monday. You may not have the same price you had on Friday, but I'm going to tell you right now, the stock market rose today. So now your portfolio rose today. This is today's money, today's prices. Yesterday's price ain't today's price, and I can't go back. The only thing that's going to happen between now and next year, inflation. And what is it going to be? If this clown is still in place, it could be 6%. You think he gives a damn about you while they lie when it's really 15%, 14%, 13%? Now you're borrowing money based on the inflationary number, which is what they were talking about earlier. Again, that's very dangerous because you're going to have to pay it back. Well, kind of. But still, you're going to pay it back. It's your bank. Come on. Again, this is one of the little nuances that I don't like about infinite banking, even though I talked about it. I like it. It's just for me, I wasn't 30. I'm older. So for me, it didn't make any sense. When I even talked about it, 45 years old, 40 years old, it doesn't make any good. It's not good. It's because I'm entering into an area where the premium's going to start skyrocketing. Even though I don't smoke, even though I only drink once in a blue moon, it does not matter. And if you smoke or have health issues, well, you can forget about it as you get older, what's going to happen. But nonetheless, here we go. Year one cash access, 85%. If you start at age 50, it's lower. Okay, we can forget that. Term insurance costs pennies on the dollar. That's correct. If you start at 30, 20 years old, 10, I'll just say this. The Rockefellers, what they do is if you have a child, I didn't know this when I was 25, 35. I didn't realize what they were doing. You heard about it, but basically they get insurance on every kid soon as they can. They're building up cash value. When the kid is 18, they have cash value, allegedly. But that's what they do. Now the kid, when they say, hey, we'll get you in a prestigious school, we can afford to bribe or do whatever. But the point is, now they go to their school, but now they have money. At 18 years old, they're not talking about, well, I'm going to go buy cars and stuff like that. For their whole life, they've been told you better buy assets. Because this money that you get, we ain't contributing no more. So you better make it last. And here's the way that you can make it last. And just what we're talking about right now about infinite banking, that's what they're doing. So now the kid's 18 years old. He wants to get a car. He says, I can pay you back. They go, hold on, son. We got you you're 18 years old. Do you know what's in your policy? You can borrow against your policy in there. So all of a sudden now it's on you. You got $150,000 in there? Cool. You want to go buy a $80,000, $90,000 car? Cool. But once that runs out, that's on you. Go on about your life. We ain't doing shit after this. I'm not saying that's what they're doing. But all I'm saying is you understand now the person's going to go, hold on, man. Maybe I don't need that $80,000, $90,000 ride. Hold on. Hold on now. Because if I don't replenish it, that means I'm down to 60 or less. And there's maintenance and upkeep. So you better have a damn good job. But that's what they do. And so if somebody dies, get this, it replenishes what they were paying for their children or grandchildren or great grandchildren at this point. It's a beautiful plan. Unfortunately, nobody ever said anything about it when I was growing up because I would have implemented this. Because, minority households generally don't talk stocks and bonds. Fortunately for me, my parents did. But they didn't know nothing about what the Rockefellers were doing. That was a guarded secret. Because if I'd have known this, I'd have been like, hold on, let me get my insurance at 18. As soon as my daughters were born, I'd have been like, get them insurance. I'd have been on it. While we're paying pennies on the dollar while they're so young. And having some things of $1 million or more health health, not health, it's not really health, but whole life insurance. Can you believe this? So again, he's on to something, ladies and gentlemen. If you like it does do something. If you're younger, then you should be considering some of this infinite banking. If you're older, just by default, your premiums are so much higher, it kind of defeats, it's kind of harder to accumulate. But it works if you're younger. But who's going to be, trust me, I'm in business. I'm 18, 19, 20 years old doing business. My friends are not doing business. They're not thinking about none of this. They're having fun. They're going to colleges. They're doing whatever. Business, I have to go to I can't even be in business class as a freshman. They're saying, I'm sorry, son. You have to take these electives before you can get up there. You can't go there until your junior year. I'm like, come on, man. Why? I don't really care about geology class. Those are rocks. I'm not studying that. Why am I going to have biology 101? I'm not going to be cutting open nobody. I know what body parts are. I can look on a skeleton. I can see diagrams. I know what's in our body, how it works. I don't need to sit here and waste a whole semester studying this crap. Oh no, Eric, if you want to graduate, you're going to have to study this. What about these English essay stuffs? They're like, oh, yeah, you got to take English 101. Otherwise, you can't, you got to take these electives. You're a freshman, it's all good. This is what we do. I said, this ain't what I'm trying to do. Where's the business classes at? I was so naive going into school, college. I said, where's the business class? They're like, you can't be, you're a freshman. You can't take business business whatever. I said, let me get this straight. I come to college. I know I'm going to be doing business. I don't know whether it's going to be Wall Street. I don't know if it's going to be I build an empire. I don't know what I'm going to do. But all I know is I'm not doing this other garbage. They're like, oh no, but you don't understand. You have to take 2 years of this other garbage that you're calling it. I'm sitting there like, you got to be kidding me right now. Oh yeah, Eric, here's your Calculus 1 book. Excuse me? Who the F is good? Okay, there is no business person I know that's dealing with calculus. They're like, what business person? You're 18 years old. Oh, that's right. I forgot. You don't understand that we live in a capitalist society. I've been doing business ever since I was 12 years old. That's the problem here, I see. They're just like, yeah, well, this is our curriculum. In fact, this is every college's curriculum. You have to take these electives. Then when you're a junior, you got to get through all this first. So if you want to take 20 credits, get up to this so you can take stuff later, then you can do that. You can stay in summer school. I said, are you kidding me? You're like punishing me, in my opinion. Why can't I just jump straight to the business stuff? I don't really care about calculus either. I'm not using that. I will be using algebra. I will be using geometry. I will be using some other common sense kind of stuff. But trust me, you know how many people above me is going to be using calculus? Stop it. Stop it. I don't need calculus to run a business. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, Eric, for you. You got to take the class. You got to pass that. So now here I am in calculus, a rock class, biology. I'm sitting here liking these classes. Are you serious? But hold on. How about all them cute girls? I go to U of F. How's all them cute girls in the class? Come on, man. Stop playing. Yes, you're capped. So if someone flip houses or something and receive a big amount of cash, they just start a new policy. No limit on how many policies you can have. True. True. But you're still messing with water on a 90-10 in America. That's for sure. No, you don't need to be there. That's where the concept comes from. That's why people do infinite banking to replicate that. They can't replicate it in the United States according to AI. That's all I'm going to tell you. According to AI, you can't replicate it because we have inflation in the United States. In Austria, they don't. So they can make this. I mean, I shouldn't say they don't. But what I'm trying to say is, I don't know Austria's system. But Austria has a unique situation. America doesn't balance their books. They don't care about inflation. They have the world currency. The other countries can't do what America does. So it makes sense for them. Infinite banking works. But every time you take money out, you're paying a higher price. You're not you're not paying due to inflation. You're paying 10 to 15% more for products. So you're going to have to pay yourself back at a higher price, even though in your brain you're going, oh, I took 10 grand out. I paid 10 grand. Well, that's nice. But you already paid the inflationary price. Therefore, that has something to do with your backside, and that's why it's a con on the American side of the fence. Because there is a thing. It's not one to one. And you still have to pay, I think you have to pay back a percentage or so. Hold on a second. On the infinite banking, I think you do pay. Hold on. There's a fee, right? There is. I know there is. Do you have a fee when you borrow? I think there is. It used to be nothing. I think they started adding fees. Let me see. Let's see what they say. Very interesting. Yeah, I'm not messing with it. I'm not. I mean, you guys can do whatever you want. You can study this stuff and then start doing. You can actually do cycles because we do have AI now. So you can actually say I'm X amount of age. I want to do the night. Well, you can't do. Okay, there are no upfront origination fees, closing costs, application fees, or credit check fees when you because you are using your own cash value as collateral. I thought they started doing fees. Not true. The life insurance company will charge a contractual interest rate. Oh, that's what I thought. Typically ranging from 5% to 8%. Okay, so what do they mean? You will be charged an annual loan interest. Oh, okay, well now, okay, that's what I mean. There's fees. I don't know why are you saying there's no fees? There's fees. It's 5% to 8% a year. So there you have it. So again, I'm not seeing the benefit of borrowing. I mean, I do get a benefit of me borrowing, but I'm still paying 5%. Now we have a problem because I'm not getting 5% on any cash value in there. So now I'm devaluing my own bank because if I got to pay 5 and I'm only getting 4, that means where am I getting the 5 from? Well, most people would say I'm getting it from my business or whatever I invested in it. No rigid repayment schedule. That's cool, but you still got to pay 5 to 8% a year. Unpaid interest rolls up. If you choose not to pay the interest out of pocket, the insurance company will simply add that unpaid interest to your total loan balance, which reduces your available cash value. Oh, this is not good. Okay, so again, I'm not a big fan. I'll say it again. Age might matter though. If you're younger and you know about this, it will matter. If you get older, it starts kind of being. I don't see how it works. And like I said, I didn't find out about it at the time. Gerald 21, I see you. Divine Transit, Roseanne Hojas, I see you. Thank you so much for being in the house. Thank you. And by the way, the guys on Instagram I just mentioned, thank you so much for being in the house. Make sure you hit the follow button because we were at 1,000 followers. Funny thing, after we said something, It went down to 973 followers. Must have had some bots or something. This is funny stuff to watch. All right, let's go. You have read more. Too much to type. You don't pull money out for liabilities. You pull money out for assets. I understand. But now we're seeing that you're borrowing at 5 to 8%. So now what's your asset earning? It better be earning more than 5 to 8%. I hope, and we know if you're in California, it's not, because their cap rates, they love 3%, 2%. So you ain't borrowing your money for that. Paying back more, and plus the fact you nick saying your 4% that you earn on your interest, which again, now you're messing around with fire. Again, I feel, because if I borrow and it costs me 5 to 8%, I'm not really following the difference, other than you do have insurance. I get that point. But when it breaks down to it, if nothing happens to you, that extra money you've been paying could have been better suited to go towards some other asset class, and the money that you paid for your insurance would have went straight into more money for your investment. So any 8%, 9%, 10% increases, that's money on top that you get to win with. This is the whole point of why the not the trillionaires, the top 10%, this is why they get to win. Because a 10% increase, that's 100 million across their class. But in our class, where there's more people, 7%, average of 80, I think it's 85 grand. That's 10% means 8,500. You're going hip hip hooray is right. You should. Now at the end of the year, I have 93, 94. Cool. But unfortunately, the top 10 percenters, they got, by the way, I forgot, it's more than 1 trillion. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. I forgot. It's not 1 trillion. Let me get the staggering number for you, okay? Let's just stop playing out here. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, I got problems in the back end. Let's go. Okay. Top 10% of the wealthiest, right? How much of the stock market do they own? You're not going to like this, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't 1 trillion, it ain't 2 trillion, it ain't 3 trillion, it ain't 4 trillion, it ain't 5 trillion. You're not going to like this. Hold on a second. Oops, I forgot. All right, I have something to drink. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. I'm doing things a little different. I'm on vacation. That's right. And I'm like, when is he not on vacation? I'm on vacation, ladies and gentlemen. They're giving me some other stuff. Here we go. I needed to find out top 10% of the wealthiest own how much, or I'll put it this way, how many trillions? Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. You're not going to like this. You are not going to like this. All I can tell you, you can put it in yourself. Yeah, I got so many windows open because, I was doing some things that I talked about in the past, and come to find out we have a glitch. Being married, living in a 50-50 state. Okay, you're not going to like this. You're not going to like this. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. So if you thought my 1 trillion number where they get 100 million was bad, you're not going to like this. The top 10% of the wealthiest Americans, not in the world, control over 113 trillion in overall wealth. Yikes. When strictly looking at the stock market, they own 44 trillion. So now do you understand the significance? 10% stock market increase. Yikes. Yikes. That's $4 trillion, ladies and gentlemen. That's more than the United States pays in interest only. That's more than the United States pays for interest and the military, which is $2 trillion, dollars, just on a 10% movement in the stock market. Are you getting the picture yet? Do you understand that $1 trillion dollars would mean that we have health care for all in America? Do you understand this? These assholes are out here making this kind of money and they're saying, oh no, we ain't got to contribute to this. In fact, why are you taxing us? Do you understand what's happening? You know what? I can't, you know what? I'm done. Where's my stuff? I can't get hype right now. I got this gatekeepers in my ear. I got people blocking. I got people that's going to try and stop what we're doing. I have an attitude right now. Let me have some. Oh, by the way, I have a lemon. I have zucchini and ginger. That's what I got. All right. Let me act like I'm from Cali and chill. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Did you hear me? $44 trillion dollars in the top 10% of the wealthiest Americans. This is not in the world. So you do understand the UAE, Saudi Crown Prince, Qatar, China, Japan. You understand they put money into the stock market too? Ladies and gentlemen, it's not just 44 trillion. This is just America. So any movement, the top 10% are getting trillions. By the way, why don't we do this for giggles and grins? This is what we'll do for giggles and grins. How much does the bottom 90% of wealth, do they have trillions? Oh, this is going to be juicy stuff. Now you understand what I've been talking about for 6-7 years while you guys been sleeping? Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The bottom 90% of Americans. Congratulations. We have more than the top 10% combined. 54 trillion amongst us. Congratulations. That's shared for over 300 million people. 10% is 30 to 35 million people. They're the same 30 to 35 million that controls news outlets. They actually control your health care. They actually control your Social Security benefits by bribing the senators of the United States and congressmen to make sure that you're not getting what you rightfully deserve. They're going to cut it like they just cut it by giving them a tax cut. Can you believe they gave the 10%ers a tax cut and tax breaks? And they also, hey, hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do something. You guys do understand they have $113 trillion net worth, the top 10%, right? Explain why they get subsidies to me, please, like I'm 5 years old. And please explain to me how come they're getting tax cuts and tax breaks like I'm a 5-year-old. And please tell me why they're getting free land to build their headquarters somewhere. Please tell me like I'm 5 years old. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm about to lose my temper over this because we got a lot of dumbassery going on. You guys are out here pulling for these assholes while they're not giving you a damn thing. But they're making you pay for the data centers energy. They're making you pay for the data centers that's coming to your town. And you guys are sitting up here accepting that they're going to give you PFASs. In case you don't know what that is, that's toxic compounds in the ground that's going to be sucking up and you're going to be drinking it through your water supply. And any food that you're building or getting out of the ground, you're signing on to this. They can't pay for this stuff themselves? I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm losing my mind right now. If you know these numbers, why are you helping them? Why are you giving them our tax money? Why are you giving them free money? Why are you giving them free land? Because they're going to not do anything. They're not giving you livable wages. They're not trying to hire more people. They're firing people every chance they get. Because they don't have to use you. They use you to vote. Then you turn around and go, oh yeah, let's go with the GOP program, tax cut, tax break, subsidies. Taking money out of your pocket, making sure you don't have health care. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, making sure your kids don't go to school and the 50% of white people in America have a 6th grade comprehension education. Oh yeah, don't think I don't know about that too. Dumbassery. Again, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. 300 million people own $54 trillion total wealth. Again, 30 to 35 million owns 44 trillion. Those same 30 to 35 million own $113 trillion in America. We're not even talking about the Saudi guys. We're not talking about UAE. We're not talking about Qatar. We're not even talking about China and those millionaires and billionaires. We're talking about just America. A 10% swing means these guys are getting $4 trillion. More than what the United States brings in a year. Meanwhile, we owe 40 trillion because you guys want to give these assholes tax cuts and tax breaks every fucking time a GOP president's in office. This is sick. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm tired. I'm going off because I got a battle in-house. I got a battle outside. I got a battle inside. I got a battle coming up later. And I got to do something about it. But you guys are out here effing up everything and sitting here being dumbasses voting for this shit. Okay, you're going to have to turn this off today, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to have to turn it off. You're going to have to turn it off. I'm telling you, I'm not in the mood today. After I'm reading all this and you guys are sitting here going, the stock market went up. You're damn right it's going to go up. That's their own private playground. Elon Musk on paper, because he has stocks, he's worth $1 trillion on the stock market. But he's not going to pay taxes on $1 trillion. But I'm going to tell you what you're going to be paying taxes on. You know, next year, at the end of this year, in a lot of states, you're going to get a property tax bill. The property tax bill, your house that you bought for $250,000 is now worth $500,000. You're going to get a property tax bill based on $500,000 less 15 to 20%. You're going to give us property taxes based on $400,000, even though you bought your house for $200,000 or $250,000. Explain to me how come a guy that has stocks, $44 trillion worth of stocks, how come I'm paying on unrealized gains? I didn't sell my house. How come I'm paying unrealized taxes? My house I bought for $200,000. Why am I paying the $400,000? I didn't sell my house. It's still $200,000. It does not matter what you say. But you're paying taxes, ladies and gentlemen, and you're smiling all the way to the bank. I own my house. I'm paying taxes. I pay the property taxes. Unrealized gains. But now Elon Musk can be a trillionaire. He gets to pay no taxes because he didn't sell his stocks. Funny how that works. Saving the 1%ers and 10%ers while the rest of us are out here having to pay. Are you getting my anger? That's why we coming. We coming, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry. No matter what happens, I'm doing the damn thing with the partner from the SSN Nation, the compadre. He's down with the program. Elite, best in class. We coming to kick your ass. And nobody can stop us. And I'm talking mess because I can't stand this no more. When I got a gatekeeper in my house trying to take my family stuff, I got a problem. Now you understand why I have a little vigor tonight. I always did. But the point is, they had me under lock and key for a long time because I always had to compromise for everything. But now I'm not going to have to compromise no more. So now we back to kicking ass, taking names, and they're going to have to change the laws to stop us. They're going to have to bribe senators. They're going to have to bring in the DOJ to try to arrest somebody on fake ass charges. That's their playbook. They're going to have to be doing their cease and desist. They're going to have to be doing all their crap. Oh yes, litigious United States of America. But no way, no how. We ready. We know what you're going to do to try and stop the competition. It ain't going to work. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it for tonight. I got to run. I'm getting too heated after I find out these guys have $44 trillion, and the rest of us, we share 54 trillion. That is sick. And you're giving them tax cut, tax breaks, making sure they don't have to pay for their headquarters, come on, man, you guys out here tripping. You're tripping. Meanwhile, you have no health care for all. You don't have Social Security for people. They're raising the age to 70 probably here soon. You know the average age of living in America? 77 for men, 79 for women. So now they're getting it where you retire at 70, you die in a few years, we don't have to pay you. And by the way, they took some of the Social Security funds and money. They have never repaid that back because they don't want to tax the rich guys that own frickin' $44 trillion. We can't tax those guys. But we can tax the 300 million guys, no problem. We can make them pay for unrealized gains, no problem. We can make them even pay for the taxes that the trillionaires, the 44 trillion of money they have, we're going to pay that too. You're going to pay it, taxpayers. You're 300 million people. You're going to pay their share. Are you guys lost your mind? I'm sorry. I'm not. Ever. Sorry. I don't even care. You guys are silly out here with this. Get in the program. SSN Nation Way. Brian P. I'm on one tonight. I can't be checking out on the emails. I'm sorry. I got a lot of battles. I don't like battling family members. I don't like battling anybody. Now I'm not chilled no more because I am now unleashed. You guys have never seen me. I've been chilled this whole time, although I do have my outbreaks. Brian P. Mr. Dividends in the house. He's out here doing the salsa dance because, you know, he invests in the stock market. He's being a great OC, ordinary citizens. You need to be in the stock market. It's always going to go up. That's the billionaires, millionaires playground. By the way, there's only like 3,300 billionaires on the planet. That's it. There's like 60 million. Now there's probably more after the stock market's done gone up. Probably 65 million millionaires on the planet. So between the 65 million millionaires and between the 8 or 33 roughly 100 billionaires on the planet, that takes care of what? 65? Oh, we'll just round up to 70 million. Do you guys understand? Just that little group of people own more wealth than more than half of the world's population. And you don't want to tax them. Right. You want to give up all your information on your phones, on your cells, on your laptops, tablets. You don't care that they're using the information and selling it, giving you nothing in return other than you're scrolling about. You don't care that they're contaminating other devices because they're contaminated. Your device is contaminated with their little crawlers. You don't care. You're just letting you living your best life. Meanwhile, they're doing espionage. They're checking out the competition. They're sitting over there going, hey, man, did you hear? Wait, hold on. Do you see this? These guys have a plan. They're going to do something. Yeah, but hold on. It's going to take him 7-8 months. We got the power of billions of dollars. So by the time they do their thing, we're going to come out. So therefore, they're not going to be ahead of us. You understand how they stay ahead of you now? Are you getting it yet? All right, enough. Brian P., Mr. Dividend, thank you so much for being here. Now you can be the man of reason for me because he's Mr. Dividend. He's doing the damn thing, ladies and gentlemen. And again, welcome to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream. He says his tagline, happy day, SSN family. Thank you. Happy day to you, man. Hopefully all's going well. Thanks for being in the house once again. And once again, he says, smash that like button. I like it. Please smash the like button no matter where you are, because you know, we're shadow banned. I've been blocked from Facebook since 2024. Restricted, I mean. Not blocked, restricted. Didn't even know it. I'm shadow banned on Instagram. Shadow banned on Twitch. Shadow banned on Rumble. Shadow banned everywhere we go. Do you understand, ladies and gentlemen? You've been given the right information all along. We talked about holding companies 7 years, 6 years back, 5 years back. We talked about trademarks 4 years back, 2 years back, last month, last week. We talked about real estate buying with no credit check, no qualifying, no barriers to entry to get you started. Inside and outside of America. Bank accounts outside of the U.S., we talked about. We talked about getting a business or land outside of the United States. We talked about it. We talked about your 755, 775 credit score so you can get 0% interest by December 31st. It's going to come out with T minus 3 or 4 months. You guys are in position. You have the information. We talked about how you can buy hotels. Oh, yeah. That's right. We talked about that. We talked about how you get funding. We talked about all this stuff. You know who does all this stuff we've been talking about? The top 10 percenters who own $44 trillion worth of the stock market and wealth. But they control 113 trillion of wealth. The top 10% of Americans. Think about what that means. That means companies, corporations, not just the stock market. That means communications and grocery stores and every phase of your life. And you're giving them a free pass. Don't worry, guys. We'll pay your share of taxes. You're going to trickle down to some of us, aren't you? The numbers say no. All right. Smash that like button. I'm going to be out of here. But I just want to thank everybody for being here because the stock market is sizzling. This is why we gave you the tools necessary starting 9, 10 months ago. When I started my journey, I had to learn. What did I do? I said, let me get the candlestick. Trading Bible. That was just my first journey. But at least that helped me understand because I didn't know what candles meant. I didn't know what the stuff on the screen was showing. So then I said, let me go check. Let me start reading this 60 pages of dynamite. It's a slow read at first until you get to page like 50 or 60, but it actually works in your favor because I didn't understand it, right? I didn't understand that the candle symbols and what they could mean and things like this. And some, I believe, Japanese guy came up with it a long time ago. I'm like, why wasn't this in business class? What the heck? Why are they keeping this a secret? Because that means I'm not going to have a job that you're going to hold me to, not be under threat. You're going to fire me after I got a nice house, a nice car, did the old-fashioned way, got loans on it. Now I got to worry about, oh, I better comply. Because if I don't comply, oh my God, I could be fired. See? Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not one to capitulate. So when I don't capitulate, I was the young gun. I was the badass. I was the number one, number two guy. I told you guys this story before. But you know what happened when they press a guy that's not in their program? Yes, I have a car. Yes, I do. Yes, I have my own condo. Yes, I do. But the thing is, they thought I just worked with them. They didn't realize I had my own thing going. See, we like to have what you call a parachute. That's what you should have. A parachute comes in many different forms. Maybe you have increased your stock portfolio. So there's a parachute. Maybe you have real estate holdings. So that's a parachute. Maybe you have a nice bank account. That's a parachute of some sort. But again, maybe you got stocks in a brokerage account. That's a parachute. You keep adding parachutes. So then when you show up at the job and they start acting funny or anybody acts funny, you start going, I don't need this. I can make my own moves. I just came here just to actually work. I didn't come here for all this other BS. And now you actually trying to talk to me like you somebody. Fine. I work here. I deserve you can talk to me any kind of way you want until you can't. So once you get fed up with it, because you have other things you're doing, now all of a sudden they press you and you say, what? Eric, you know we might have to fire you for this. Is this a threat? I mean, what? Is this a threat of some sort? That's what it's like, ladies and gentlemen, when nobody can do jack crap to you. That's the position you want to be in of strength. You don't want to be like the trust fund kid, you know, who bans and takes away the Obama Iran nuclear deal. And then for the next 6 years, they're dealing with Iran on a somewhat crazy basis. You bomb them and say they have nuclear materials. Then 9 months later, you go, we bombed them and we got rid of them 9 months earlier. Then 9 months later, oh no, we didn't. They got nuclear. But meanwhile, who's paying for this? Taxpayers? All the lies. And now, if this deal comes true, if Israel doesn't, bomb Gaza, bomb Lebanon, do their usual Middle Eastern terrorist activity, then I guess this will be the thing. We're shipping money to Iran for reparations, black people. They're getting the reparations, not you slaves who were enslaved. You're not getting reparations, but Iran is. And by the way, also shipping them money that we kept from them, which is kind of weird. Is it really weird? Not really. But they're shipping their money that we kept from Iran. That's weird. Then we're going to lift some of the sanctions so they can sell their oil now to more places, like gatekeepers. We're acting like we rule the world through military might. Taxpayers, who pays for this military might? And by the way, who's going to pay for this? I don't know how many trillions that was spent on this fake, or whatever you want to call this, Israel war. Who's going to pay for that, taxpayers? Because you're giving tax cuts and tax breaks to the millionaires and billionaires that control $44 trillion, $113 trillion total. So that means it's going to lie on me, the taxpayer, the ordinary citizen. That's right, you, ladies and gentlemen. So now, do you get the playing field yet? You still playing around out here? You better get with the program. Start investing in something that they invest in. I used to tell my friends all the time. They go, what do you invest in? Wherever the white guys are investing, that's where I'm at. They go, why? What do you mean, why? They're the ones that control the system. So if they're in cars, I'm in cars. They're in travel agency, I'm in travel agency. I actually was trying to figure out how to get in airline industry, and then I realized airlines don't really make money. I was thinking, I was there. I was like, hold on, they got the airline. Then I found out, oh no, they get bailed out all the time. That's not working for me. I wanted a winery, so I invest in a winery. See how this works? The top 10 percenters, I'm there. And now I'm coming for them again in another arena. And we're going to kick ass. All right, enough of this. I'm out. Brian P. The recall impacts nearly 370,000 bottles. Antidepressant recalled over potential cancer-causing substance. Hey, you're going to have to give me a name, Brian P. This is a PSA. Oh, by the way, I'm out here ranting and raving. I forgot the Candlestick Trading Bible. Gerard, I see you. The Candlestick Trading Bible is in everybody's hands right now. You can drop it. And by the way, you might want to get this while you can. Because next week, or, well, I'm not going to say next week. Because I have a personal matter I must attend to. I have to go to my aunt's funeral on the 26th. And I have to deal with some personal matter. But the fact of the matter is, I don't know how this is going to work over the next 7 days. Because the personal matter, if it doesn't get fixed, nobody's stopping me. So I'm going to have to pull the nuclear trigger, and I'm not going to explain that. But the point of the matter is, you better start downloading this Candlestick Trading Bible on the website, because the website has been malware virus. Yes, I've been attacked again on the on the websites. This is true. Both websites, by the way. It's devil of hard work out here trying to help people. But you still should be able to download it. All right? You go to the link, it should still download. If it doesn't, there's going to be a reason. But at least that gets you a start. But you can't start without the rest, right? You need something else. And so you got to have a demo account. And I'm just saying, there's you can have anybody. I mean, you can have Trading View, which I love, quite frankly. I do love Trading View. The only thing I don't like is that they don't hook up with my broker. And they don't hook up with my broker because they're not regulated in the United States. I'm like, you're damn right I'm not hooking up with you because that means I'm being monitored. I don't want to be monitored. Just pretend I'm a rich guy. Just pretend I'm one of the top 10 percenters. I don't want you monitoring me. I want you to give me subsidies. I want you to give me tax cuts and tax breaks. That's what I want you to give me. Give me free land so I can build an HQ. That's what I want. Okay? Oh, and by the way, have the people up the street pay for this. It's in their neighborhood. We're going to sell it. We're going to tell everybody, hey, we're going to bring 5,000 jobs over the next 10 years. Okay? Why don't we just do it that way? All right? Yeah, I'm bitching tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Because there's too much going down. The recall impacts 370,000. There's the CoinX. You can upload via crypto. You can download via crypto. Where you send the crypto on the download is up to you. It's not regulated by the United States. But generally, if you're going to use a central exchange in the United States, that's regulated. So they know, they already sent the message. You uploaded $5,000 to this crypto address. We know who the crypto address is. It's CoinX. Okay, cool. But they never sent 5,000 back. So now, how are we going to know to charge them? If they send 7,000 back, that means you're going to send us a message letting us know they're supposed to be taxed on $2,000, right? But if they don't send it back, how do we know? Oh my! Come on, ladies and gentlemen, stop playing out here. That's the point. That's why I'm not sending it back to the CEX. I'm sending it back to a place that's outside of your jurisdiction, United States. Oh, and by the way, don't even try to do anything with the phone because it's not on my phone. Come on, stop playing out here. Not on anything. You can't find it, so don't worry about it. It's a free country, free world. Do what you got to do. All right, let's go. So there's the CoinX, ladies and gentlemen. Just so you have it. You don't have to use it. You can use a United States thing all you want to. Hey, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, just know you got to know your limitations out here. All right, let's go. Here's what else we got. Here's what else we got for you. Because there's a crypto debit card, it kind of makes sense. You might want to send some of your winnings outside the United States and make it go to Mexico or make it go to Costa Rica or make it go to EU somewhere that they don't even know about. Not regulated. They can't grab it. The broke country that we are. How about thinking about that, ladies and gentlemen? Start protecting yourself out here. Because they're protecting the rich guys, but they're not protecting you. They're not helping your life, making it easier. But if that's the case, go to findhelp.org. That makes your life easier. Findhelp.org. For everybody in the United States, put in your zip code and see what type of services nonprofits have that's generally free or a little bit of money. That's what they're designed for. Go get that help. Don't sit out here helpless. All right? Let's go. We're trying to help you guys out here. Oh, and by the way, I'm just going to let artists know. If you're an artist, filmmaker, movies, music videos, music, and you're tired of the majors blocking you, don't worry. The cavalry's coming. Independent like none other. We're coming. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah, we're going to have some things going down. We're going to have some things going down. So we're going to see how this goes. All right, here you go. Findhelp.org. It's everywhere. You guys know I put it in there. But here's the other point that I was trying to make. You got to download your money somewhere, so why not Bankus? Why not get the Bankus crypto debit card? If you're messing around and you're very successful at trading. Why not bankers? You can refer other people. You can make money at this, but that's not what I'm interested in. I know I'm going to try to refer a few people. Yes, I get to make money when you buy the card, make money when you upload a little bit. But it's not that. It's freedom, ladies and gentlemen. It's freedom. And it's freedom from being tracked. All right? Oh, by the way, the Banker's card is not in the Apple or it's not in the Apple or the Google Play Store. Oh, I'm laughing for a reason. Like I said earlier, I didn't realize that these phones that we have, that these fools, we go to their Play Stores, we download, they can actually hook on to our phones because that gives us access, terms and conditions. They're actually rummaging through your phone trying to find information. That's what's funny about this. I didn't realize that's what these app stores were doing. I just thought we were just downloading stuff, and I just thought it was, we got an app and we're using it. I didn't realize they're going through your phone, just browsing, just seeing what's on there. You know when you use your biometrics? What do you think happens? Your face, your fingerprints. You know what Palantir does? You might want to check this out. Now, you're using devices by Samsung, you're using devices by Apple, you're using devices by Sony or whoever. Be very careful, ladies and gentlemen. That's why there's a new phone out, new tablets out, new laptops out from a company that blocks it. Oh, I love this company. It's not mine, unfortunately. It's not mine, but I love it. We'll talk about that on Wednesday. Security for your wealth, ladies and gentlemen. When a broke country and their minions try to make sure that they keep tabs and tracks on you, those days could be numbered. But it's going to be very interesting how it's going to work, because they might just reverse it. They might say, since you're not giving us info, we're going to block you. That could happen. But nonetheless, just letting you guys know how diabolical, what country you live in. Do you know? Brian P. Eric is on fire. Thank you so much, Mr. Dividend. That's right. I can't let this slide. I got too many demons in the closets. I already got people trying to block. See, I haven't even started yet. We haven't even started. And we got a blocking situation for the success, the long-term viability of a program. Nothing goes above the program. That's how this goes. You trying to mess with the program means that's not a good thing for the program, which by default is not good for the team. The team is not going to build something, and then all of a sudden somebody decides, oh, they're not feeling appreciated or they're not feeling good. Oh no, you don't get to stop the program. You can punish each person separately, but if you're going to be problematic for the program that's helping people, ordinary citizens, against the billionaires. Oh, I tingle all over when we kick their ass. I tingle. Okay, I have to compose myself this evening. I have to compose myself. Because I just was rethinking what we were doing. And I said, the possibilities are endless. What we can do. Once I do Death Star 1, 2, and 3, it's like, holy smokes, we can make this work. This could actually go and go and go. And they can't do anything about it other than send over lawyers, send over cease and desist, send over any bribe the FBI. I mean, that's about all they can do. Try to lock me up. That won't work. They're going to try everything to stop. Because, since they control $113 trillion, what's it to them for spending $20 million, $50 million on lawyers to stop you? And you don't have $20, $50 million to fight them. It's no big deal to them. We'll just block the competition. Just another day at the office. Because, you know, we have 1,000. Oh, sorry. Hold on. We have, Jesus. They got like 20,000 duffel bags, $20,000 duffel bags of $1 billion. $1 billion a bag times 20,000. Do you really think they're going to give a damn about spending 10% of one bag to block you? I don't think so, ladies and gentlemen. Now are you understanding why America is behind on development? Because the rich guys are blocking the competition from ever seeing the light of day. So therefore, they get to use their weak, sorry ass software systems and block the outside world from coming in. And we in America are paying premium prices for stuff that is not the best in the world. And they're blocking out stuff that is the best in the world and not allowing us to have it that's half the price. Do you understand where you live yet? Don't worry, I'm talking a lot of mess. I don't mind targets. But now we understand I've always been a target, so that's never fazed me. But now I have to be a little more scared. Because you know, it's easy to bribe the government officials now than it was before, even though they bribed them 40 years and 50 years and 60 years ago too. But now, since they openly don't care about bribing, i.e., the Homeland Security guy getting $50,000 bag of cash, and the FBI goes, no biggie. We're not going to arrest him. He's a white guy. But if it was a black guy, or a Latin guy, or another kind of immigrant, look, it's fraud. See what they're doing? Look it. You better understand where you live, ladies and gentlemen, because it ain't only one color. They're coming after everybody. You're not part of the club. You better become part of the club, though. At least you might have some sort of a way to hang. But again, it's dangerous out here in America. I know some of you are going, I'm over dramatic. No, I'm not. I just told you the facts of the matter. You want to sit there and say I'm melodramatic? That's so be it. That's fine. I'm glad you're here. But don't say I didn't tell you, just like when I called it 3 years ago, 2 years, 7 months ago, when I said, guys, things aren't going to go according to plan. You might want to do these things. Get your ass in the stock market. It's going to rise. It's going to keep rising. Did you listen? Congratulations. If you didn't, sorry. But can you imagine having NVIDIA at $40? I'm just saying, 1991. We're sitting here. It's $40. AMD, $30, somewhere around there. Now go look. And the prices you see now are after split prices. Because NVIDIA went to $1,000. 1,100 is when they split. 10 to 1, ladies and gentlemen. Then they went from 110 roughly up to now 200 and whatever, 30, 40. That's a lot of money. Octo, Mr. Financial was here, giving us Octo, Twilio, all that stuff. 5 years ago, you had opportunities. 4 years ago, you had opportunity. 3 years ago. Did you let the parade go by? I know, don't worry. You don't know nothing about it because you know we are shadow banned. But hopefully if you saw this, you knew something about it and you made some money. All right, let's go. Those of you who did the no credit check, no qualifying, no barriers to entry, and bought property over in the DR in 2020, 2021, 2022, congratulations. 2023, congratulations. Because you have doubled your value at least. So congratulations, you have equity. Congratulations, you did the right thing. Congratulations, their tax system in the DR is totally different. You bought something under $170,000, you don't pay property taxes. Congratulations. Just saying, you bought assets. Congratulations. You see how we were working all along. OCs, you're going to win. We're not going to stop. We're going to be the focal point. We're going to continue to be the forerunners. But get yourself into the stock market right now. It's going to keep blossoming. It's not going to go down. The Federal Reserve, they're probably, I don't know, they should be raising the interest rate at 4.7% inflation. Under Joe Biden, soon it was 3.4, I believe, or 3.1. They were like, we got to raise inflation. Never mind, do we go from 2.9 to 3 point something to 4 point something, and they go, we're not going to do nothing. Do you understand you're behind the curve, ladies and gentlemen? That means there's more pain and suffering that's going to happen to the bottom 90% than it is to the top 10%. The top 10% don't even get their own groceries. They don't even go do day-to-day stuff. They don't pay their energy and electric bills. They have so much money that they don't need to track it. You, on the other hand, you have a finite number, how much you make per month. You can't afford 80% of you. You can't afford a 5%, 10% increase in pricing. That means I get 10% less in food. And food prices are escalating. So again, you're put in a blender. And if you don't have assets, you don't have things that are paying you, you better get on board, because this may be the last chance you're going to get over the next year or year and a half. Because after that, there's going to be an implosion. We haven't had one in over 12, 14 years. The usual cycle is 8 to 11 years is the recession. They've done it artificially. That's a bad omen. Sooner or later, you can't artificially do anything, because right now we owe more than $1 trillion a year on interest only. And every time we do this bombing and all this stuff, every time we're doing stuff, we're adding to the deficit. So it's 100 billion here, 50 billion there, 200 billion there, 200 million there, 300 million there. Next thing you know, we're going to owe 41 trillion. And you're going to owe 4% on 41 trillion. I mean, 1 trillion. So now you're going to have to pay 4% of 1 trillion. That's added. We already are over 1 trillion a year. Do you guys know what our GDP is every year? Why don't you go look? This is gross. Oh, by the way, they don't even calculate it the same way they used to. Of course not. Because then it would not be the number that it is. They got to falsify the numbers. So it says real GDP is 24.2 trillion. Inflation adjusted. All right. The nominal GDP, which does not matter, seasonally adjusted, 31.8 trillion. We owe 1 trillion. GDP per capita is 94,000. Consumer spending represents the largest chunk of the U.S. economy. Yikes. Business investment, non-residential, is another one. Net exports is another. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, it's funny how when something doesn't suit America, they change their way they analyze stuff just so they can give out BS numbers, right? Here we go. Let me do something right now. I'm going to do this 1980 GDP versus 2026 calculation of. It might have to be a little sooner than that, but let's go back to the Twilight Zone. This is how you guys don't understand, because you don't know history, you don't read books, you think this is how everything was. This is not how everything was. Here's what goes down, ladies and gentlemen. You know, remember I was talking about that intellectual property lately? How is it that they're going to include IP, R&D? Why are they going to do that? Why are they going to include IP? IP doesn't generate any money. That's just intellectual property rights, because you created something. It'll create money if you do licensing or you let somebody else sublease it or whatever you want to term it. Yeah, you can make money. Check this out. This is under the trickle down theory of the Reagan guy. He was president. He sold the country on trickle down, which was BS. Business expenditures on research and development, software, and entertainment, artistic creations were treated strictly as intermediate inputs. Production expenses, they did not count towards the final GDP. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know what happens when you start doing this research and development? It cost us $600 million. Do you know what happens when you create software that says, oh, it cost us $2 million to create this software, aka AI? It cost us $3 billion? Okay. Remember in 1980, you didn't count this stuff. You didn't count entertainment stuff either. But now, in 2026, the following major structural revisions: R&D, computer software, and the creation of intellectual properties are classified as fixed investments. This change alone retroactively added hundreds of billions of dollars to the calculated size of the U.S. economy. You've been bamboozled, ladies and gentlemen. Do you understand? Bamboozled. This is not how we used to do it. They artificially inflated the numbers so you think this is the GDP. That's why you're not getting anything, no love from it, because it's fake. We don't care about IP. You don't own the IP. You don't care about R&D because you're not the corporation doing the R&D. You're not the one that cares about software because you're not producing multi-billion dollars worth of software. But we are counting it as if that counts towards the GDP. That's not helping you, Americans. This is fake. Now do you understand there's a difference between that trickle-down asshole and what he started and where we're at now with this asshole? It's the same thing, different day, always changing their rules, always lying to you, and you guys are sitting here rah-rah, shish-goo-bah for these assholes. Again, ladies and gentlemen, the proof is in the pudding. You can put it in the machine yourself, and I just asked it. What did I ask it? Difference between 1980 GDP and 2026 calculation of GDP. You can go look for yourself. So when AI and all their companies are going, oh man, we spent $100 billion on AI, ChatGPT, and oh, the EV vehicles and all this stuff, the batteries. We didn't count that before, ladies and gentlemen. So now when they go GDP numbers are bigger than it was under somebody else, oh, you think? Because that doesn't do anything for anybody. But you're counting it as if it did. So who benefits from them doing all this stuff that's being added to the GDP, ladies and gentlemen? You tell me. I'm waiting. Let's hear what you got to say about it. I just gave you fake numbers again. This is the same thing they did about inflation in 1979, 1980. They changed it again because that asshole that did the trickle-down theory bullshit, that's how they got away with it, because they gave fake numbers going, see, the GDP's higher, see? See what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? They faked it. You understand what's happening? Do you know what country you live in? I don't think you do. You're wondering how come everybody's struggling on 80% of the population don't even have, they're living paycheck to paycheck? 70% of the population doesn't have $1,000 in their bank account while you're watching the stock market sky high. While you're watching all these corporations spending billions and billions of dollars out of thin air. And you're sitting there like, well, what's going on? How come I'm working. I make 100 G's. What the heck's going on? How come things aren't? Because the numbers are fake. They're not real. That's not the real calculations like they used to do back in this before 1980. Do you understand what's happening out here? They're making you poorer, but telling you things are better because you don't know any better. It's all right. It's over, ladies and gentlemen. It's over. I'm done. I'm done talking tonight. It's over. It's over. Okay? It's over. It's over. It's over. I've had enough. I'm sorry I went on my little rant tonight, but hopefully you guys understand what the situation is. Brian P. Elon Musk warns America will 1,000% go bank. He's right. Now he's the world's first trillionaire. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder how he's the worst. Yeah, he's right. I told you guys. It's over. This is the Roman Empire. This is he's not some sort of no savant. I've been telling you guys this for a while. You live in a third world country, but you don't know it yet. How many years have I been saying this? This is not rocket science. He knows exactly how the system works. It's not sustainable. This is not sustainable. You can't have 300 million people, and out of the 300 million people, you can't have 80% of them, 240 million of them, living paycheck to paycheck and think that you're going to be able to buy goods and services from these assholes. Let's get real out here, man. That's what we do. You can't be sitting out here thinking on the long term, the price goes up 10%. We already have 80% of people living paycheck to paycheck. Now we got 85 potentially. Only 15% of people have disposable income. That's us. Hold on. There's like, wait a minute. That's us. We don't go buy products like that. Think about this. The top 10% own 113 trillion. Do you think they're out shopping? Like the bottom 300 million people? No, they are not doing that. And when they do go shopping, you know where they're going? To the luxury brands. Right? Most of the time. So your mom and pops, your Target, your Walmarts, all these guys, that's the 300 million. That's their department. But they're going to go bye-bye because 240 million out of 300 million can't buy shit. They're living paycheck to paycheck. So that means they're going to have to stop buying, which means there's going to have less inventory. Stores are going to have to start closing. You see where this goes? We've been talking about this for years. This is nothing new what Elon Musk says. He acts like, oh yeah, I know. Mother, get the dumbass out of here. All right, ladies and gentlemen. He's a trillionaire by stocks. He got his friends bailed out who invested in, I talked about this, they invested on X because X wasn't making money. The sons of the son and the father of Oracle, the UAE, the Saudis, the Qataris, the Chinese, all these people invested in it, and that's how he got his 44 billion plus some banks and all these other guys invested. It's a loser. So he did the unthinkable. He created XAI, and then months later he rolls in the X shareholders because they're private. Sorry, they're a private company. They're holding shares privately. He rolls the private company because it's worthless. He rolls that into XAI, which is worthless. But at least he has a plan because he already knows I'm going to have a SpaceX in about 2 years. So we're going to roll this. You guys are going to roll into XAI. So now you have shares of XAI and X. So then he goes, SpaceX up next for an IPO, guys. You're not going to get your money out of these two places. But because you now are going to hold shares of SpaceX privately, when we go public, that's how I make you whole. Fucking asshole. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That's how they get their money back. Because he did SpaceX and SpaceX isn't even making money. The only thing that SpaceX now has is those satellites. And remember, he says, I'm going to try and deploy thousands of satellites because that does Starlink. SpaceX doesn't make any money. And by the way, you guys are paying the subsidies, the tax cuts, the tax breaks, the government contracts, taxpayers, for SpaceX to exist. Just like you paid for Tesla to exist. Just like you paid for Starlink to exist. All of it, he gets governments and subsidies and taxpayers' money. And now I'm listening, he's a trillionaire. And then he says some crap like this, knowing that he ain't trying to save nobody, ain't trying to help nobody. The dude can stop world hunger if he wanted to. He ain't thinking about it. All he's thinking about is his apartheid roots and controlling all of the world as much as he can. That's why he's deploying 1,000 satellites. So you're going to have this internet. He's going to control media. You understand where this goes? And you're going to get poorer, by the way. because this thing about only in the hands of a few have all the money. Sorry, plebeians. One day you're going to leave out the castle of Rome and let the rich guys fend for themselves with all their bags of money because they don't fend for themselves. And then you'll wake up. But as you wake up, remember the whole Roman Empire crumbled. Welcome to Roman Empire 2 on the downside. Good luck. You better do something because otherwise it's over for you. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I love you guys very much. I appreciate your support over all these years. But it's nothing but love that I got for my explosion this evening because I want you guys to understand this is no game to play. You're about to lose a lot of stuff over basking like these guys are your friends. Okay? All these rich guys that control $113 trillion, the top 10 percenters that you're giving a pass to and you're listening to what they say. If you listen to what they say, it's going to be detrimental to you, your family, and your future. And your family's future is already gone. Okay, it's already gone. The kids that are 35 and under, good luck. The lost generation has already happened because they don't make enough money to actually live anywhere. So their thoughts of owning a home is not there. Their thoughts of renting is there. Their thoughts of sharing a home or sharing where they live, that's the norm, like they're in college internally. That is not good. And when you have a third of your population in that dire situation, this is not good. The numbers don't lie. We got a lot of smart people watching this. You listen to what I'm saying, you can go do the numbers yourself. The numbers don't lie. They can't pay for Social Security. They don't make enough money. They can't pay for all our health care. They don't make enough money. Who does have enough money are the same dudes that get tax cuts and tax breaks under every GOP president. Those guys have a plenty of money. They can stop. Elon Musk by himself with only $500 billion can stop world hunger and homelessness in the world. Think about that. Think about the other part. He has 1 trillion. The top 10% together have 113 trillion of wealth. And not any of them are stepping up going, you know what, we can stop world hunger right now. Here's my 500 billion. No problem. Here's my 50 billion. No problem. It only takes 65 billion to stop world hunger, by the way. Anybody signing up for that? No, but they're sure damn taking your money. They're taking your tax money to pay for their taxes. They're taking your tax money. They're taking your subsidies. They're taking the subsidies to run their companies. It's funny. How come they don't run them again? I'm asking for you guys. How come they're not paying for their own companies? Why do they need subsidies? Why do they need tax cuts and tax breaks? I'm miffed at this. I'm confused. So anyhow, enough of my anger this evening. Enough of this. I just want to thank you guys for being here over all these years. One of these days they'll finally cut us off, but they haven't so far. Yes, Facebook shut us off last week. Instagram also, which is Meta, shut us off last week. It's fine. Don't worry. We still are on other things. iHeart and everybody. I love you guys. On the podcast networks, iTunes as well. Thank you so much for listening. Oh yeah, there's more than one way to skin cats to get messages out. They can't block them all. But hey, they get paid for this, right? I'm on platforms. They get paid. Let's face facts. Okay? So anyhow, I'm going to end this 1 hour and 50-minute barrage for the evening. It feels good to be back to the old me. Non-compromising. You guys have never seen this version. This version is a whole different animal. Because now, I don't have anybody to worry about. Before, I had people to worry about while they're messing with me. So I had to move a little differently. But now that my daughters are all grown, and now that I may be departing from my dear wife, That now means I have no liabilities. Oh, they are in trouble. Oh, my liabilities is this: the federal government, the FBI, the state of California, police. Those are my four liabilities. And when we pull off this next venture, then it's going to be the top 10 percenters are going to be a liability. But we know what's coming. And this time, the story is going to be different. So all I'm going to say is stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you go get the Candlestick Trading Bible. Make sure you download CoinX. Make sure tomorrow they have Bankus at 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. They're live. They cut on the maintenance. They figured out the maintenance. There's no longer a problem with activating your card. It's all good. They're really good. And they're in Mexico, by the way. Just so you know. Outside the United States jurisdiction is the Bankus crypto debit card. So you might want to get one of those. Just saying for a friend. I put links down there, so you should have them. And go check out the live stream. They do answer questions, unlike a lot of other companies. The reps usually don't answer. They're like, oh, we're not even going to allow chat room open because people are going to say some stuff we don't want them, people watching, to know. But these guys have the chat room open. They actually get you on the phone on the Zoom call. So you can't say that they're not transparent. And one of the gentlemen is usually part of, he's like the regional or the global, I don't know his title, that has something to do with the company. But nonetheless, he's usually on. So again, that's some of the tools that you're going to need down the line, because bank accounts are going to be wiped. This is going to be like 1933 all over again. Bank accounts are going to be wiped. ATM money not coming out. You better have other sources outside the United States or inside of the United States, but the sources outside that they can't cut off. You better have a bank account outside the U.S. as well that they can't cut off, okay? Or take your funds. You better study history, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't just 1930, 1933, 1934 that they took people's money. It wasn't just 2007, 8 that they took people's money. You better start paying attention. You don't live where you think you live. And right now, this is going to terminate what I'm talking about. So with all that said, no matter what you do out here, it's going to be hard. It's going to be adventurous. It's going to be very hard for the next generation to come out of whatever iteration comes out over the next 5 years. I feel for you. But you got to get assets, ladies and gentlemen. You got to get intellectual properties. Just what they're accounting for GDP. Intellectual properties. Stocks, otherwise known as equities. Trademarks. Patents. You need to get those items. Source code if you know it. If you know how to build something on the computer, you better get that too. The same things that they're counting as GDP, that has value. That ought to tell you something. My old adage used to be the same adage. Whatever the white dudes are doing, I'm with you. So that means I need IP. That means I need trademarks, patents. That's everything we talked about. I need gold. I need a little silver. I need stocks. I need exactly what these guys are doing now. I got to figure out what this R&D stuff is about, which I know what it's about because that's what we would be doing right now if I didn't have a situation in my private life, because we'd be doing research and development right now. That in itself is valuable. That's why they're counting it. You see how this works, ladies and gentlemen? Just follow the line. They already given it to you. If they're tracking it and it matters, you need to be in it. All you want is a piece. You don't need to be in it. You just need a piece. Right now, those guys who own these companies, $113 trillion, do you really need more than a few points? Let's get real. 1% is $1 trillion, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get real. Seriously. You don't need that. How about 0.5%? 500 million. That would be nice. Do you really need that? No. Can't spend it in a lifetime. How about half of that? 250 million. Can't spend that either. How about 0.1% then? I mean 0.001%. Just 100 million. How about 10 million? Do you think you could be set for life for 10 million? As long as you're not a pro athlete. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. I had to have a little fun. Make sure you stay safe out here. Make sure you watch your back because a lot of people under stress. It's fair enough. They work in two jobs, barely making a living. Or they're like me when I was taking care of my aunt and having to go to the hospital, and my uncle's there too. Not it was a bad thing. All I'm saying is you had to sacrifice. That means your time is limited. So you can only do so much time in a day. And so therefore, you sacrifice. So people are stressed. So understand that when there could be altercations, just step aside. Just be like, okay, man, I'm out. You know, because you have more things to protect. You don't want to be involved with law. You don't want to be involved with courts because guess what? They need money too. Hint, hint. So, with all that said, just make sure, no matter what you do out here, keep your head up, keep moving, and I'm out.